Everywhere you look, someone's trying to tell you how much money you need to retire. 2 million, 3, maybe even 5. They speak with authority, charts, and a look that says, "Trust me, I've done the math." But what if I told you they're all wrong? Not just off by a little, catastrophically wrong. Because they're not calculating for freedom. They're calculating for conformity. They're optimizing for a lifestyle you probably don't even want. Tied to the same city, the same job-shaped routines, the same endless chase for status and comfort. They're selling you the dream of retirement at 65, but only if you play by their rules. Decades of work, sacrifice, and saving. And even then, you might not make it. What they won't tell you is that you don't need millions. You need clarity. You need courage. You need about $300,000 and a willingness to think differently. That's it. Not to scrape by, not to live in a van, but to actually be free, sooner than you've been told, on your terms, in a life that feels like yours again. But there's a reason they never mention this path. Because freedom doesn't generate management fees. Fear does. And fear is the currency the entire retirement industry runs on. So, let's interrupt the script. Let's ask a better question. What does it actually take to wake up and never work for someone else again? The answer starts by unlearning everything they taught you about retirement. Most people think retirement means maintaining the exact lifestyle you had while working, just without the job. Same house, same car, same $70,000 a year in expenses. So they assume they'll need enough savings to keep spending that much forever. That's the story we've been sold, but it only makes sense if you never question why your current lifestyle costs so much in the first place. Look closer. Most of your spending isn't about what you truly value. It's about coping with work. You eat out because you're too tired to cook. You take expensive vacations because you only get 2 weeks off a year. You buy nice clothes to look professional. You drive a nicer car because your commute is hell and you want to feel like it's worth it. This isn't luxury, it's compensation. Remove the job and most of that spending disappears. You have time to cook. You don't need work clothes. You travel off-season. You stop stress spending. What you actually need to live well without the job could be 30 to 50% less than your current lifestyle. And that's just one layer. Most people also assume they'll retire in the same place they work. But why? If your job is the only thing tying you to an expensive city, why not leave when the job ends? The difference in cost of living between San Francisco and Lisbon is 70%. Between New York and Chiang Mai, 85%. That's not pocket change. That's your freedom. I met someone last year, mid-30s, burnt out, high income, but no savings. She moved to Vietnam, cut her expenses by 60%, and started freelancing part-time. Within 18 months, she saved more than she had in the last 10 years. Not because she earned more, because she stopped spending to survive her job. This is the real meaning of retirement. Not maintaining a lifestyle built around employment, but designing a life without it. If freedom is your goal, then geography is your greatest leverage. Most people never question where they live. They settle near work, near family, near where they grew up. But when you remove employment from the equation, the map changes. Suddenly, the entire world becomes available. And that single shift unlocks options you've never been shown. Because here's the reality. The cost of living in Lisbon, Portugal, is about 70% lower than San Francisco. Chiang Mai, Thailand, up to 85% less than New York. And we're not talking about sacrifice. We're talking about a better life. Slower pace, better food, walkable cities, stronger community culture, public health care that actually works. You're not trading down, you're upgrading and paying less. I've seen it firsthand. People who thought they needed millions to retire discover that $1,000 a month gives them a life of comfort, safety, and dignity abroad. They rent apartments in beautiful neighborhoods, shop at local markets, enjoy weekend trips, and build new friendships faster than they ever could back home. This isn't about escaping, it's about choosing. Choosing a life where your money works harder, your stress runs lower, and your time is finally yours again. So ask yourself, not where you live now, but where your life could actually thrive. The answer might not be within your zip code. Whenever you challenge the traditional idea of retirement, you'll hear the same 4 objections over and over. Let's take them one by one. First, health care. This is the biggest fear for most Americans. What happens if I get sick abroad? Here's what they don't tell you. The U.S. has some of the most expensive health care in the world, and that doesn't make it the best. In places like Portugal, Thailand, or Colombia, you can get world-class treatment for a fraction of the price. Public systems are often accessible to residents, and private insurance for expats ranges from $100 to $300 a month. A knee replacement in the U.S. might cost $40,000. In Thailand, $4,000. Same procedure, same outcomes. I know someone who had dental implants done in Medellin, $1,800 total versus $15,000 quoted in Miami. Same materials, Western-trained doctors. This isn't wishful thinking, it's global pricing. Second, what about inflation? Valid concern, but remember, your money stays invested. If your portfolio grows at 7% and you withdraw 4%, you're still beating 3% inflation. Plus, most people in this lifestyle end up making small side income. Freelance work, online projects, whatever they enjoy. An extra $3,000 to $5,000 a year makes a huge difference when your base cost of living is $12,000. You're not stuck, you're flexible. Third, distance from family and friends. This one's real. For some people, it's a deal breaker. But be honest, how often do you actually see your closest friends right now? Once a week? Once a month? Zoom calls, annual visits, slow travel, it's all possible. One friend of mine moved to Portugal and said he actually grew closer to his parents because now every visit is intentional. Quality over proximity. And fourth, what if something goes wrong? Emergencies happen. That's life. But here's the difference. You're not burning your capital. You still have the $300,000 invested. If you need to dip in for something unexpected, you can. You're not locked into a rigid formula. You're just following a sustainable plan. And let's not forget, you can always go back to work if life throws you a curveball. Taking a 10-year sabbatical doesn't close every door, it opens new ones. These aren't fantasies. They're scenarios thousands of people are living right now in real cities with real lives. If you're willing to challenge fear with facts, you'll find most of these objections melt away. Let's talk about the number that scares people the most: $300,000. It sounds massive, intimidating, out of reach. But that feeling, it's often just the result of vague math and zero timeline. So let's make it real. If you save $1,000 a month, less than many car payments, you'll hit $300,000 in about 15 years, assuming average market returns. Save $2,000 a month, you're there in under 10. That's not fantasy, that's math. You don't need to be rich, you need to be consistent. This is how real people do it. They live below their means. They skip the lifestyle upgrades. They share apartments, drive used cars, cook their meals, and invest every bonus instead of spending it. Not because they hate comfort, but because they love freedom more. I know a guy who made $80,000 a year, lived like he made $40K, and banked the rest. He hit $300,000 by 36, not because he got lucky, but because he got focused. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future. Every dollar you don't spend is one step closer to never needing a paycheck again. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to start. Give compound interest enough time, and it will do the heavy lifting. Most people never get there, not because it's impossible, but because they never believed it was possible in the first place. Early retirement isn't just a financial decision. It's a psychological transformation. Because once you step outside the system, once work becomes optional, everything you thought you knew about money, time, and happiness begins to shift. First, your relationship with money changes. When you're working, money is about earning. Raises, promotions, bonuses. Your self-worth gets tied to your income. But in retirement, money becomes about spending, preservation, intention. You start asking better questions. Not, can I afford this? But is this worth it? $100 dinner isn't just $100. It's 1/10 of your monthly food budget. That awareness doesn't make you cheap. It makes you precise. And over time, you begin to see what actually makes you happy and what never did. Second, your time horizon expands. When you're grinding a 9 to 5, you're stuck in short-term thinking. Monthly bills, quarterly goals, annual reviews. But when you unplug from that cycle, you start thinking in decades. What kind of life do I want at 60? At 80? How do I invest in relationships, health, and meaning now so that future me thrives? It's no longer just about escaping work. It's about building something deeper. And third, you discover what kind of person you really are. Some people need structure, external validation, and a to-do list handed to them every Monday. That's okay. Others, they wake up on a Saturday morning and feel more alive than they do all week. If that's you, if your weekends feel like the truest version of yourself, then early retirement isn't risky. It's alignment. Freedom doesn't start with a number. It starts with awareness, with the courage to ask, What would I do with my time if nobody could tell me what to do? And then, slowly, to build a life where that answer becomes your reality. You don't need to believe any of this right now. You just need to be willing to test it. Take a month. Go live in Lisbon, or Medellin, or Chiang Mai. Rent a small apartment. Cook your meals. Use public transit. Track every dollar. Live like a local, not a tourist. And at the end of 30 days, you'll have something better than advice. You'll have data. You'll know what it actually costs to live well outside the U.S. You'll know whether the trade-offs feel worth it. You'll know whether this dream fits you, not someone else. And here's the beautiful part. If it doesn't work, you lost a month and maybe $2,000. But if it does, you just bought yourself 20 years of freedom for the price of a round-trip flight. The retirement industry wants you to keep asking, can I afford to stop working? That's the wrong question. The real question is, can you afford to never find out?